very excited to be here with Carl Myerscough, a man who needs no introduction because he does physical things that no one else can do. So, Carl, welcome to the show. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, very well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Ricardo.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I have had the delightful opportunity to train with you many times, and I am very excited you're going to share some of your knowledge and expertise with the lifters and viewers around the world today. Carl, tell us what you've been up to in the world of closing grippers. You've done two things right now that have been beyond momentous.
Well, in the last 6 weeks, I've been fortunate enough to certify on the number 4 Captains of Crush Gripper, and then this past Friday, I certified on the GHP 10 gripper.
All right, Carl, for the people who haven't really touched the grippers or known about them, you're the only person to certify with the credit card on the number 4. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And how long have you been training for that? How long has that been a goal of yours to accomplish that?
Honestly, about 20 years when I first tried them in college back in 2003. And at that time, I did them for a little bit and decided this is something that I can't really do whilst I'm still throwing. So I put that on hold until I retired from my track and field career. And so since the middle of 2016, so about 7 years, working every week on heading towards that goal. You know.
Well, it's pretty amazing. How long did it take you? So, starting in 2016, once you had dedicated practice for the number 3, how long did it take you to make the number 3 certification?
I started in possibly about July of 2016 training, and then I did the certification at the LA Fit Expo the following January.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think I was there. I think.
Yeah, probably you were
Yeah.
probably there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I was there for that. So, obviously, that went off without a hitch. So, what about the number 3.5? How long did it take you to then progress from the 3 to the 3.5?
About to certify on it. I want to say a year. Like I tried at the Anaheim Fit Expo the following year
Right.
and failed it. And then the next January, I believe I did it and got it. But
Yes.
back then I was doing it like the day after or after the arm lifting competition,
Right.
So once that 3.5 was done, I realized, the 4 wasn't going to be the same thing. I had to be extremely fresh and ready, and I wasn't going to casually be doing that the day after a contest anymore. A little bit
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, absolutely a little bit different. And I'm pretty sure I was there for both of those attempts also. And the successful one, of course. What can you talk very briefly before you get onto the number 4 journey about what is the effect of the nervous system of these heavy gripper closes? How come you can't do it the day after a contest, for example?
Um, just the fatigue from the other events. You gotta, the grip is so hard. You've got to be fresh. Everything's got to be feeling good. And if you've done Axle and Rolling Thunder and Pinch Grip, the day before, you're only going to get like 80% of your full crushing power the next day. There's no chance of getting 100.
Yes, I would for certainly agree with that. That grippers, it's way harder than it looks for the person who's never tried to close them.
Yeah, the thing with grippers that's difficult and probably the reason that I think I've probably succeeded where others haven't, because I think there's lots of people in the world that could certify on the number four, but what's been necessary to do it is the specific concentrated effort at the exclusion of other things. So for me, I retired from track and field, shot discus, and then I concentrated on grip. And the main goal was to certify on the four. And so that's my priority. And so I was in a position where I can prioritize, gripper closing is my main, like that's like my bench press day of old, that it's the main day that I'm excited for. I prioritize, I make sure I'm fresh for, I make sure everything's geared towards being at my best on that training day. Whereas so many of the other people that probably could do it, given the same type of speciality, don't, because they've got, bigger fish to fry. They're busy doing strongman events and all kinds of different priorities. So that probably stops them being able to quite get there.
Yeah. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the average number four with the Canon PowerWorks ratings is about what, 214 to 216? That's the number, Iron Mine 4.
214 is average, yeah.
Okay, now for those people that aren't aware, the credit card is much bigger than the GHP block. But talk about the monster that is the GHP 10. The difference in the strength of the GHP 10 versus a number 4.
So the GHP 10 is about 15% harder than the number 4. But, as you say, the credit card is bigger. So the credit card is about 54 millimeters wide, whereas the block is 38 millimeters wide. And the credit card makes it super difficult because to set it, your fingers are right down by your fingernails, and you don't have very good leverage on the handle. Whereas with the block, you can get much better wrap. So it's like your hands open like this, and the grip is just on here. Whereas with the block, you can start in here. So even though it's considerably takes more force to close the GHP 10 because of that better wrap of the fingers and the better leverage. It's not as great a difference. Like it's harder for sure, but it's not as great a chasm as the difference in numbers and in the rating would suggest.
Right. All right. Well, that's I'll take your word for it because I'm not going to be touching a GHP 10 anytime soon. But I definitely understand the physics of having the thing a little more of a head start on it makes it easier. How much energy did it take to set the GHP 10? Was that an issue, or was it just getting it the last few millimeters in the right place?
You don't, the GHP 10, the second you pick it up, you got to be committed. Like it doesn't move
Right.
anywhere easily. So there is no easy part. Like as soon as you pick it up, as soon as it's in your hand, you're at absolute full commitment in everything you do with it because it's so stiff. You've got to make sure everything's right. Yeah, it's hard enough just to set it, but you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about the close. But I had to be fired up for that one. Let's just say that.
I've seen you fired up in the past. I can only imagine. I wish I was in the garage on the day. That was unbelievable display of human power. Um, but and so congrats on all these things that have never been done before. I mean, it's easy for me to say congratulations, but we're looking at the result of over 20 years of weightlifting and 7 years of dedicated effort week in and week out while still competing in other things. It's remarkable.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. So, Carl, you've also done some other things that I have never seen before. Um, you can bring up whichever ones you think are most challenging, but specifically, I am very impressed with your full level perfect lift of the original Millennium Dumbbell. And the other thing that I thought was very remarkable this spring was your epic axle battle with Kim Johansson of Sweden, when you guys were just trading lift after lift beyond what we thought was going to happen in the contest, and you lined up and did it again 10 minutes later, 6 minutes later, whatever. Can you talk about each of those separately, because they're well worth being separate discussion items?
Millennium Dumbbell, I was fortunate enough to buy the original from Dr. Radley about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And so that's in England. I mean, it's in my brother's house, and so I don't get to practice on it very much. Um, so I haven't gotten to lift it for a couple of years now, but it's hard. But I think I've done quite a lot of lifts better than that one.
Hmm.
Um, the 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 contest at the Arnold against Kim was very much a competitive battle. It's not so much about technique or about the lift. It was things didn't go to plan because I wasn't expecting to have to lift so heavy. So we ended up, doing 3, 4, 5 lifts close to each other in weight, 3 to 5 minutes apart, and again and again and again and again. So I think I did like 5 lifts at 500 pounds or over, which was never in the plan. So I left a little bit of my soul on the stage that day. And it was a great experience. It was like a great life experience. But yeah, that was just a head to head contest battle of wills thing.
It was absolutely that. And I can tell you at one point there was 5,000 people in the stands watching. From your professional track and field career, you've competed in stadiums probably with 50 or 70,000 people in Europe. But for me to see arm lifting with that many people and the energy and the roar of the crowd, it was just amazing. And as contest organizer, I felt so fortunate that that he came all the way to Columbus, that you came all the way to Columbus, that Luke Reynolds, he added to the mix with, I think, 2 lifts over 500 himself. Um, it just made it an energy I've never seen before at these contests. And I've been to many, many fitness expos and many, many contests, and it was just amazing to be a part of.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. So what do you have any future goals now that you've done these two grippers? Um, do you have any future goals in the sport right now, or are you just going to let your mind and body recover from all the abuse from the last few years and then set up some new challenges that no one else can do?
Um, it hasn't all sort of just sunk in yet, so I'll
Right.
take some time to certainly to recover, recoup, and assess. I don't have any other, like, I've achieved my goal on grippers, and so I don't have any, like, to get to that goal. I really had to fly pretty close to the sun, like it was walking a tightrope on how hard you could push, what I could recover from, and hold the body together. Doing the GHP 10, there's some pressures on the structures of the hands that I felt like I was pretty close to my, limit of what I ever want to feel. So, yeah, I don't have any designs on doing anything heavier on grippers. I'll continue, hopefully, to do grippers the rest of my life, but just some more fun things and reps. And I'm not motivated to push that any harder. I'm happy with what I've done on that. On the other lifts, I'm super proud of my axle world records, my Saxon bar world record. Um, it kind of it depends probably on what other people do, and whether they break some of those records, and that might reignite some motivation in a particular direction. Um, but mostly what motivates me is to do things that will cause people headaches long after I'm gone, so hopefully, yeah, it's a dark psychology, but, somebody in 30 years might look at a certain lift and say, well, this guy, even after I'm dead, hopefully, somebody be causing people difficulty to challenge some of the lifts. So, and doing things that no one's ever done before motivates me. So I have a few things in mind, but I'm not going to, I'm
You'll
keeping it.
unveil them when the
No,
time is.
yeah, when they happen, they happen. It's under wraps for now.
And I totally respect that when you're trying to do something. I haven't done this, but when that no one's ever done before, I can imagine. I always know there's something going on in the drawing board, so that's exciting to see. Um, what advice would you have, Carl? There are many, many athletes that are world class in their field, say strongman, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, shot put and discus, like you. What advice would you give them if they're looking to transition, or even someone that's middle of the road like me, looking to transition to arm lifting or looking to give it a try, but they don't know where to start? What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Uh, research the different competition opportunities. Have a look at Armlifting USA website and various social media outlets. Look at the techniques of other people doing the lifts and just give it a go. You can certainly assess where you're at your own commercial gym or whatever. Just buy a pair of fat grips. They'll give you some idea of what you're going to be able to do or not do on an axle, and you can pick it with one hand. That's going to give you some idea of what you can do on a rolling handle. um, and then if it's something that people are interested in, they should just sign up for a competition, because there's no, then you'll learn, you'll meet people, and you're on your way.
I can't tell you how many times people have told me I don't know where to start, and I've told them Amazon.com, get a $40 pair of blue fat grips and get on with it. It can tell you so much about your hand strength relative to other people, man or woman. It doesn't matter. I think really for $40, and they're so versatile. So I fully agree with you that you can certainly find out a lot about your grip with a pair of fat grips for sure. Um, do you have any other comments you'd like to say to the viewers here? Because yeah, we've got to get going, and I really appreciate the time that you've taken to share your insight and expertise with us. Anything else you'd like to impart to the viewers?
I think that preparing for competitions and training for arm lifting in general, you want to think about how the lifts combine and how they affect the other lifts. So if you everybody should do what interests them and what makes them excited and what they enjoy to do. But if you want to do well in the contest, you need to look at what the carryover of each lift is to other lifts. There's some lifts that you need not ever practice, and if you're doing other lifts, you can do well. Whereas there's other specialty lifts you put a lot of time in, but they don't carry over to anything, and they even prevent you from making progress in other areas. So if you want to do well in a contest that's got multiple lifts, you want to have a balance of thick bar, pinch, crush in there. And if you spend all your time doing stub and hub and other little things, you will not make progress on axle, and because you can't improve on everything. Your body can only adapt so far, and if you want a great amount of adaptation, you've got to focus on the priorities. um, there's a lot of lifts. If you're doing axle and you're doing pinch, you can pick up a dumbbell or a rolling thunder any time, because the carryover from those other lifts is high. If you just do rolling thunder and then you try and do axle, you're in trouble because it's lower. You got to use both hands. So if you prioritize your time and effort onto the things with the most carryover to the most events, that sets you up to be successful in the bigger competitions.
Well, I think we're going to end with that elegant and eloquent nugget of information. But I mean, I couldn't agree more. You get a lot of bang with the big stuff. I agree. A lot of bang for your buck. So, Carl, thank you for taking this 15 to 20 minutes and spending it with me and sharing your knowledge and expertise and your over your journey, athletic journey. I very much appreciate it.
All right, thank you
So
very much.
I can't wait to the next time where we get to see you display what you've been working on for the last 20 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ricardo. Take care. Have a good
Have a
day.
great day. You too. Bye.